Hey everyone, welcome to Trail Sage, and this week we're talking about the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3s. I've had mine for a couple months now and I've been blown away. The ride is unlike anything I've tried before. If you've been running in Sauconys already, then you know what I'm talking about. But if you're new to the brand like me, then grab your chapstick because you won't be able to stop smiling once you put these on. Now, you know I love my Hokas, so you might be wondering why I switched. Well, recently they've moved to this elf ear heel tab design, which I'm not really a fan of. So when it came time to replace my old Cliftons, I started looking for a few other options. The folks at the Bryn Mawr Running Company recommended the Endorphin Speed 3s, and man, am I glad that they did. But before I get too carried away, let's go over the specs. In a men's size 8.5, the Endorphin Speed 3 weighed in at 217 grams, which makes it pretty light. The stack height is 36 millimeters in the back and 28 millimeters in the forefoot, giving the shoe an 8 millimeter offset. The Power Run PB is a beaded foam that's ultralight and reactive. There's also a nylon plate which sticks out from the sides to give the shoe more structure and stability. Moving on to the upper, the Endorphin is comprised of a lightweight breathable mesh with some overlays. The heel has a plasticky rubber-like plate to provide some additional structure while still being flexible. The heel and collar also has some extra padding to help with lockdown. If we look at the tongue, it's fully gusseted on both sides and has a little bit of padding to add to the overall comfort. The construction of the shoe also incorporates Saucony's Speedroll technology, which is intended to propel you forward as you run. And to keep your foot from slipping, the outsole is comprised of a carbon rubber material that's supposed to help with traction and durability. Finally, the shoe is offered in a variety of colorways and comes in a regular or wide option. Okay, so now that we have all the technical jargon and details out of the way, let's get into my legs. The minute that I laced these up at the store, I felt an immediate difference. The Power Run foam is bouncy and feels like tiny bubbles under your feet, giving you a sense of energy return and responsiveness that was truly eye-opening. As I mentioned in the specs, these have a nylon plate that Saucony claims to improve feedback while providing additional support. And while I'm not about to cut these shoes open to see how that works, I can tell you that it does feel stable, and when running, the feeling of being propelled forward is definitely noticeable. Of course, that could be attributed to the 8mm offset and Speedroll design, but regardless, this shoe makes me want to run farther and faster. Now, I've heard some people struggle with the heel cup, but I haven't had any issues with lockdown. The mesh stretches nicely and in combination with the insole, molds itself nicely to my feet. I also love the thick laces and slightly padded tongue, which allows you to really cinch it down and dial in the fit. The Endorphins feel light on your feet and are a joy to wear on longer efforts, which you might expect, but they've also been surprisingly good on those short, hard runs where you're focusing more on speed and power. But if you're looking for a lot of ground feel, these aren't your shoes. The cushy foam is like running on a cloud, and the comfort doesn't stop there. The double-layered mesh allows the shoe to breathe well and provides plenty of ventilation. In dry conditions, these shoes offer lots of traction when grinding out the miles on the pavement or doing some speed work on the track. They've even held up great on the hard-packed dirt. And while it's way too early to tell, the durability seems good, and I'm hoping to get 400 plus miles out of them. But it all hasn't been peaches and cream. There are a few things that you should be aware of and a few drawbacks that I've noticed. For one, the 8mm offset took some time to get used to. Having such a high stack height in the back means that more of your foot makes contact with the ground, which can be off-putting if you're a midfoot striker. It's not as noticeable on the track when you're doing sprint work, but on my threshold and longer runs, you can feel the difference. Another thing that took a while to get used to was how the beaded foam felt underneath my toes, and I know I just said how much I love the Power Run foam, but there's definitely an adjustment period. I didn't notice it at the store, but on my first couple runs, my toes felt like they're being splayed out. Additionally, I did experience some numbness and tingling until my foot got used to it. It almost felt like there was a dome of foam underneath my foot pad and my toes were being spread out around it. Eventually that feeling did go away, but it's something that I wanted you to be aware of. Finally, the traction, and I have two complaints here. While this shoe is great when the conditions are dry, I didn't have the same confidence when it was wet. While there's plenty of rubber on the sole, the compound is on the harder side, making them less grippy. The second issue is hard to illustrate, but on gravel, the shoes felt like they wanted to slide outward ever so slightly, and this isn't noticeable on film, and I never felt like I was in danger of an injury, but it didn't feel natural. I'm not sure if that can be attributed to the way the tread pattern's laid out, and I might be overly sensitive to it, but it's something that I noticed. So let's move on to pricing. At $170, these aren't cheap. However, Saucony refers to this as a marathon racing shoe, and if we compare them to other shoes in this category, they're comparable. But we're not all marathon racers, and for me, that's a little bit more than what I typically spend on a shoe. So, are they worth the steeper price tag? Well, yeah, they are. I can definitely feel the difference in the quality, ride feel, and comfort. If you're interested in checking out a pair, I'll leave a link in the description below. It won't cost you anything extra to use that link, but it helps me to continue to make these reviews. So in conclusion, if you're looking for a shoe to tackle those long runs but also works well for training, I would put these Endorphin Speed 3s on your short list. From the moment that I tried these on, I felt the difference and all I wanted to do was go run. The comfort over longer efforts was something I was expecting, but having a shoe this responsive that could also excel in other disciplines was amazing. I don't know if it's the Power Run foam or the nylon plate, but they just feel fast no matter what kind of run I'm doing. We'll see how long they hold up, but assuming they last, I think they're well worth the extra cost. Well, that does it for this video. If you have any feedback or questions, leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.
Wow, that's really hard. I'm trying really hard to get in front of you. Slow down, dude. This is the worst video ever. I'm very irritated because that was very crooked. The thing was just like... The thing that I'm not liking about this shot is it's not you. Make it go low. Hello, bench. How do I make it go that way?
I know, it's hard.
Don't patronize me. Let's see. Oh, is somebody having difficulty?
It's wobbling like so much.